The man removed his cross necklace to suppress the magic, and a pair of white angel wings grew from his back. He flew higher and higher uncontrollably, and in mid-air, his wings suddenly began to melt and burst into flames. The moment the man landed, a pair of demonic horns erupted from the top of his head. With the sound of painful wailing, a hellish demon king encased in molten rock was born. The man became this way because of the tragic death of the woman he loved so much. In order to find the real culprit, he sold his soul to the demons of hell in exchange for the power to take revenge. 3 days ago, Parrish was ready to propose to his girlfriend, Merlin. But while confessing his love, his girlfriend confessed that she had fallen in love with someone else. Unable to accept, Parrish lost control on the spot. Extreme ice scared away his girlfriend. Who would have thought that this confession would separate them from each other? The next morning, Parrish received the news that his girlfriend had been murdered. Since the two had a heated argument at the restaurant last night, common sense dictated that Parrish was the most likely suspect. In the days that followed, neighbors and his biological parents suspected their son of being the murderer. Apprehensive, he snuck into his girlfriend's memorial service at night. He thought he would feel better, but hearing his girlfriend's father's tearful speech made him feel even worse. After everyone leaves, Parrish angrily steps on the altar and destroys it. What he didn't know was that this action had inadvertently awakened the evil forces from hell. The next day, Parrish wakes up to find horns growing out of his head. Strangely enough, the people around him were not surprised to see this scene. What is even stranger is that anyone who approaches Parrish can't help but speak from the heart. If there is physical contact, you can even see what is in the other person's mind. But now Parrish just wanted the doctor to quickly pull out the horns. He did not realize that this ability could help him find his girlfriend's killer. As the anesthetic grows stronger, Parrish slowly falls asleep. When he woke up, he found a hacksaw stuck in the middle of the horn on his forehead. Terrified, Parrish tried to pull it out with his hand, but at the very moment he pulled it out, a terrible memory began to appear. In the memory, he turned into a demon covered with lava. Back in reality, Parrish gains a special power. Once he comes into physical contact with someone, he reads their memories. Even in close proximity without contact, he can make someone speak their mind. Maybe this is fate. A few days ago, Parrish's girlfriend was brutally raped and murdered. The real killer is still at large. Now that he has gained demonic powers, he must avenge his girlfriend's death. So he begins to investigate the suspects who had contact with his girlfriend that night. First, he goes to the town's bar, known as the gathering place for bad guys. Under the influence of Parrish's special powers, everyone in the room told the truth, and it appeared that there was no killer here. But a drunk sitting in the corner said to ask the waiter at the fast food restaurant, there may be something new to find. Soon, Parrish found this person. She's not the killer, but she's not a nice person either. She was the one who spread the rumor that Parrish was the killer. Fortunately, there was one useful clue. Parrish's brother was at the fast food restaurant that night, so he might know the truth. At the moment of their contact, Parrish saw what happened on the day of the murder through his mind-reading skills. Unbeknownst to him, his girlfriend Marin was riding home in his brother's car that night, but in the middle of the road, his brother started to move his hands, which made Marin feel uncomfortable, so he got out of the car early, which led to the tragedy. Although the brother is not a murderer, but this back and forth do not personnel. Even his own siblings are not spared. After seeing this scene, Parrish's spirit gradually began to break down. With so many bad things added together, another demonic force awakened in his body. It can communicate with snakes and control them. To vent his frustration, the first thing he did was to find the pretty waitress who had spread the rumor and destroy the woman with her venom. Then he finds his brother and uses his demonic powers to cause him to have terrible hallucinations, trapped in an endless cycle of painful thoughts. As the search for the killer stalls, Parrish's best friend, Lee, shows up. From his memories, Parrish discovers that Lee has always had a crush on his girlfriend, Marin, but Marin always treated him like a friend. Lee goes on a rampage and starts committing acts of violence based on the principle of if you can't have it, destroy it. In their constant pushing and shoving, Lee picks up a rock and brutally kills Marin. Stunned by the fact, Parrish is knocked unconscious by Lee's attack from behind. When he woke up again, he was covered in gasoline. Parrish watched as lit matches were thrown at him. The pain on his burning skin prompted him to open the car door to escape, but Lee outside immediately slammed the car door with his foot. Against the pain, Parrish started the car and headed for the lake ahead. But in most movies, usually the main character jumps into the water and doesn't die, and this is no exception. Soon, Parrish stood up from the water, despite the fact that half of his body had been burned. He took his last breath and found the father of his dead girlfriend. He said he had found the real killer of his daughter, Lee. At first, the father-in-law did not believe it either, but he chose to believe it from the sincere eyes of Perlich, and gave him the cross necklace his daughter was wearing before she died. Not surprisingly, after wearing the necklace, the power of holiness suppressed the demonic nature in Parrish's body and restored him to his original form. Later, after reading his girlfriend's diary, he learns that it turned out that Merlin had inherited his mother's cancer. She didn't want Parrish to suffer the loss of his wife like his father did. so she lied about the breakup. Parrish is devastated to learn the truth and vows to avenge his girlfriend's death. Soon, he found Lee, the murderer, and tried to kill the brood with his own hands, but to his surprise, his brother arrives with the police and the truth finally comes out. Desperate, Lee suddenly attacked the police and grabbed a shotgun. His brother tried to help, but was shot in the left leg. In the confusion, the policeman was shot in the head. The abominable Lee was like a demon. In desperation, Parrish took off his cross necklace and unleashed his demonic nature. Let's see who was more evil. Lee was stunned. Lee kept pulling the trigger and shooting bullets. Seeing that the attack was ineffective, he fell to his knees with weak legs and begged for mercy. But just as Parrish went soft, the guy picked up the fork on the ground and suddenly stabbed it. Unable to bear it, Parrish stood up and plunged his horn into Lee's stomach. Finally, this earthly demon got the punishment he deserved. I thought Parrish would put on the necklace, take human form, turn into the demon king of hell to punish the bad guys and become a superhero. I didn't expect him to be petrified and die.